Imagine a world where every single animal, from the tiniest ant to the largest whale, was the exact same size. What would happen if size no longer determined an animal's role in the ecosystem or its survival? How would nature adapt to this bizarre and equalized playing field? And what challenges would arise for humans and animals alike? Today we'll explore the extraordinary and chaotic consequences of a world where all animals are the same size. First, let's define what same size means in this hypothetical scenario. For simplicity, imagine every animal on Earth becomes about the size of a medium dog, like a Labrador retriever. Whether it's an elephant, a bird, or a beetle, they all occupy the same physical space in this new reality. This drastic change would immediately disrupt ecosystems, food chains, and survival strategies worldwide. Size plays a crucial role in how animals hunt, hide, and interact, so this shift would rewrite the rules of nature. Predators, who often rely on size and strength to overpower their prey, would face serious challenges. A lion, now the same size as a rabbit, would lose its advantage in hunting larger animals. Ambush predators like crocodiles would no longer dominate rivers if fish were just as large as they were. Predatory birds, such as hawks, would struggle to hunt animals their own size or larger. Without their size advantage, many predators would need to completely rethink their hunting strategies. Prey animals, on the other hand, might enjoy a brief advantage in this new world. A gazelle, no longer dwarfed by its predators, could use speed and agility to escape more easily. However, larger prey like buffalo or zebras, now reduced in size, would lose their defensive power. Their reduced stature would make them more vulnerable to a wider range of predators. This equalization would force prey animals to rely more on speed, intelligence, or group tactics to survive. Herbivores would face new challenges as well, particularly when competing for food. Insects like grasshoppers, now the size of a dog, would consume vegetation at an alarming rate. Larger herbivores like elephants and giraffes, no longer capable of reaching the tallest trees, would lose their feeding advantage. The competition for plant resources would become intense, leading to rapid depletion of vegetation. Entire ecosystems could collapse as food sources vanished under the pressure of equally hungry animals. Marine ecosystems would undergo drastic changes as well in a world of same-sized animals. Whales, no longer massive giants, would lose their ability to filter feed on tiny plankton effectively. Sharks, once apex predators, would struggle to dominate waters filled with equally large prey. Fish like tuna and sardines, now the size of their predators, would alter the dynamics of the ocean food chain. Coral reefs, which rely on small fish to maintain balance, would face chaos as fish grew far larger than the coral itself. Insects would become one of the most terrifying groups in this new world. A dog-sized ant, with its incredible strength and teamwork, could overpower many animals, including humans. Mosquitoes, now enormous, would pose a serious threat as their bites became life-threatening. Spiders, crickets, and beetles would become formidable creatures, capable of competing with mammals and birds. This sudden rise of insects as dominant creatures would completely change the balance of ecosystems. Birds, too, would face unique challenges and opportunities in a world of uniform size. Small birds like sparrows, now larger, would lose their agility and ability to evade predators. Larger birds like ostriches, now downsized, would struggle to compete for resources they once dominated. Flight itself might become impossible for many birds, as their wings would no longer support their new mass. This would ground many species, altering migration patterns and food sources worldwide. Humans would find themselves in a particularly precarious position in this new world. Domesticated animals like cows and chickens, now the size of humans, would no longer be manageable food sources. Predatory animals, once kept at bay by their distance or habitats, would pose direct threats to human populations. Insects, now gigantic, could invade homes and infrastructure, causing widespread fear and destruction. Humans would need to adapt quickly, developing new tools and strategies to survive alongside equally sized animals. Urban environments would also face unique challenges as animals adjusted to their new size. Rats, pigeons and cockroaches, now massive, would overwhelm cities with their numbers and newfound strength. Stray cats and dogs, now evenly matched with these pests, would struggle to keep populations under control. Buildings and infrastructure would need to be fortified against animals capable of breaking through doors and walls. Human spaces would no longer feel safe as animals adapted to urban environments with increased confidence. Ecosystems that depend on size-based hierarchies would collapse almost instantly. Large herbivores, once responsible for shaping grasslands and forests, would lose their ability to maintain these environments. Predators, no longer able to dominate through strength, would struggle to find food and maintain their populations. Even plants, which rely on specific animals for pollination or seed dispersal, would face massive disruptions. The loss of these delicate interactions would lead to widespread extinctions and ecological chaos. Diseases too would spread in new and unpredictable ways in this size-equalized world. Insects like ticks and fleas, now large enough to pose serious physical harm, would spread infections more aggressively. Bacteria and viruses that target specific animals might mutate to adapt to their new hosts. This could lead to outbreaks that cross species boundaries, threatening both humans and wildlife. The interconnectedness of ecosystems would make controlling these diseases nearly impossible. Transportation and agriculture would need complete overhauls to survive in this altered reality. Farm animals, no longer manageable in size, would be impossible to raise and transport efficiently. Farming itself would face challenges as insects devoured crops and herbivores competed for the same resources. Trains, planes and cars would need to account for the sudden increase in animal-related accidents and disruptions. Entire industries would collapse as they struggled to adapt to the chaos of this new world. Humanity's relationship with nature would be fundamentally altered in a world of same-sized animals. We would no longer sit at the top of the food chain, as many animals would pose direct and equal threats. The balance of power between humans and wildlife would shift, forcing coexistence or complete separation. Our understanding of survival, competition, and adaptation would change as we navigated this strange new world. This equalization of size would remind us of the fragility and complexity of the ecosystems we often take for granted. What if all animals were the same size? The result would be a chaotic, unpredictable world where nature struggled to adapt and survive. This thought experiment reveals just how crucial size is to the balance of life on Earth. Thank you for joining us on this journey into a world of equalized creatures and unimaginable consequences. Until next time, appreciate the diversity of life and the intricate systems that make our world possible.